All right. So anchovies are pretty standard. Pretty much every Caesar salad dressing you see these days is going to have
Yeah,
cured anchovies in it. But I thought it was
although
really
not in
interesting
the
to learn.
original.
Not in the original. They just use Worcestershire sauce. Now, Worcestershire
Hmm.
sauce has anchovies in it. I was
Hmm.
also reading that Worcestershire sauce 100 years ago had a lot more anchovies in it
I
and it was
believe
much
that.
more
Hmm.
pungent, which is why it might have swapped for anchovies better than the
Hmm.
stuff we buy these days might.
Hmm.
But I usually when I'm doing a true Caesar dressing, like a good table side, properly made to order one,
Hmm.
I definitely use at least one or two fresh anchovies, and I see recipes that use five and
Cured
six.
anchovies, not fresh anchovies. You mean?
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
the ones I get them in a jar, not a tin, but it's the same
Hmm.
idea.
Yeah, yeah. But the little black oil cured, like the salt cured ones packed in oil,
And
or
if
the
I
ones
make
packed in salt if you want to be really fancy.
I love those. God, they're so
Yeah.
good. I will say, I mean, we can get into alternatives on everything, but I will use like salted brine capers or just
Hmm.
that's my
Instead of
favorite for.
anchovies.
Instead, sometimes I'll use it in addition, just if I really want it to pop more,
Hmm.
especially if I'm not putting it just on a soft lettuce.
Hmm.
But I actually it's great. I think it's a great swap for vegetarians, so it's worth
Exactly.
mentioning.
Yeah, I think, and in fact, if you want to go the extra mile, one thing that I like to do if you want to make a like a Caesar for vegetarians, what I find is that like the capers, so swapping capers out for anchovies, capers have like a little bit too strong of a flavor for me, like a little bit too distinct of a flavor. But if you fry them first,
Mm,
so they get like puffed and
so
crispy,
good.
and then you save some of them as garnish, and then put and blend the rest into the dressing, like that kind of mellows out their flavor, and I find helps it blend in a lot better with the dressing. You just like fry them in olive oil till they kind of puff and pop like popcorn.
Fried capers are one of my favorite salad toppings. They're
Yeah,
so fun.
yeah, and
It's
they're
such a
great when you
nice
kind of crush them up
crunch,
into the
and they
dressing.
kind of blow up a little bit, so that it's almost like they
Hmm.
become this like baklava texture. They're so cool. They're like very thin and
Yeah,
fragile. They're so good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
All
right,
right,
so that's
so the
anchovies.
fishy element, yeah, the Worcestershire, the anchovies.
Then you've got
Okay.
the Worcestershire, which is again we talked about how it used to be fishier, but actually in the original recipe it was just Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce is not vegetarian. I probably didn't know that all the years I was vegetarian, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it
But
has anchovies in it.
I wasn't going to be that wrung out by it personally. Then you usually have the original recipe has a one. So we're getting to the egg element. The original recipe has a 1 minute coddled egg, which is like just cooked enough that it's not supposed to kill you.
Right.
Um,
Although I've done some testing on that, and the
it
this
will
like the
still
center
kill
of the
you.
egg does not reach remotely
There's no
pasteurization
way.
temperatures with the 1 minute. 1 minute, like doing 1 minute, is nothing to do with like, well, maybe the idea was safety, but it's not really about the safety. It will it'll kill the any sort of bacteria on the outside of the shell, which
Hmm.
can be useful because often like things like salmonella, for example, are not inside the egg; they're on the exterior of the egg, and the danger is that when you're breaking the egg, the exterior of the shell can touch the stuff coming out from the inside and contaminate it. So it will help in that sense, but it doesn't cook the interior of the egg to any degree. So like if you're
So
starting with
spooky.
clean eggs, coddling them for 1 minute is almost there's not really any point to it. Like just breaking the raw egg into there is going to get you the same basic effect.
I also see
Um,
a lot of recipes that use one or two egg yolks, and you're basically making a mayo. You're going to take an egg yolk or an egg, and you're going to whisk oil into it,
right.
which is how
So
the
okay.
mayos
So
begin.
wait. So let's quickly get to the other ingredients because so you got your anchovies, you have your eggs. Then you have the other elements are basically your ingredients of a mayonnaise. So Dijon mustard.
Dijon,
Although
which
the
was
original
apparently not in the
recipe
original.
not in the original, but these days Dijon mustard very common.
It's so good
You're
in
going to
there.
have olive oil, right, which is
Hmm.
going to help the emulsion. And then you're going to have lemon juice or sometimes vinegar or sometimes lime juice. But those are the basic elements
Garlic
of a mayonnaise. Yeah, and then some garlic as well. And
and
so
obviously salt, but I feel like black pepper has such an important role in
yeah, salt and
Caesar
black
dressing.
pepper.
Like you really want that freshly ground black pepper. It really makes a huge difference. I feel like lemon and pepper make a huge difference in it.
Hmm. And so essentially, I mean, you can if a modern Caesar dressing, which often is going to be fully emulsified, like a
Hmm.
sort of like a thin mayo.
Yeah.
A modern Caesar dressing is essentially just like a flavored mayo, right? It's like mayo
Hmm.
flavored with anchovies,
Absolutely.
garlic, parmesan, and Worcestershire sauce, right? And
Hmm.
that's essentially it. Which means that like if you want to sort of cheat at Caesar dressing and make a real quick modern Caesar dressing, all you have to do is take mayo and
Hmm.
mix in a few of those ingredients. It's add a splash of Worcestershire, maybe some chopped anchovies,
Hmm.
grate a garlic clove into there, and you essentially grate a bunch of Parmesan onto your salad, and you've made a Caesar dressing, the same that you would buy. Probably better than what you buy because you
Way
could use
better than
better. Yeah,
you've
you
made.
can use
You've
better
made an
anchovies
IO.
and
You've made.
better.
Now it's a Caesar aioli, and you can charge more for
Yeah.
it.
But that
Uh,
said, the classic salad though is not in fact an emulsified sort of mayo based salad. It's you basically take all those ingredients and you form the emulsion as you're tossing the salad,
mhm.
right? And so like it's all those ingredients just kind of go into a bowl. And the description that the classic description is the one that Julia Child wrote about uh, her um, her experience going to Caesars when she was a child. And she talked about seeing the whole tableside preparation and watching how the whole leaves of romaine cascaded down, and like the eggs and the parmesan showered over them,
So
and the
hungry
waiter
now.
like splashed it with Worcester with just a little splash of Worcestershire sauce. And it was a very very descriptive. It's a salad. The Caesar salad, it's rare that you have a salad that has like a story, like that feels
Mhm.
like there's a presentation, right? Like the story, it comes to your table and there's like and they're adding these ingredients, and then there's this big climax where the salad gets tossed right in front of you,
I
and
like
then you get to dig in.
that they and she mentions this, and I've seen this in the original too, that the leaves are individually dressed, which I think is so
Mm-hmm.
key, because nobody
Mm-hmm.
likes a salad where things are unevenly mixed. And I feel
Just
like
like
when
you
you're
don't like
using
those nachos, the empty
where
nachos,
all the
right?
stuff is on one side. Yeah,
Exactly.
but I like the idea of kind of like, it's true. If as long as your hands are clean and you're preparing food for people, you can swipe dressing lightly over all the big pieces of lettuce. It's just a perfectly dressed salad in a way that you're just going to get pockets if you just toss it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
is that so it's whole leaf romaine is the traditional way. It's the full piece.
Mm-hmm.
Kenji, do you put so there's always parmesan, but
Yes.
I never put it in the dressing. I
So
feel
this
like
is
it
something we
gets
wanted to
lost
talk about.
there.